Alright guys, welcome back to some more MX versus ATV Reflex. Today we are checking out a brand new custom track called Sunset Ramblers by Red Rider 197. This track, it's a local track for him. You know, everybody that rides has their track, their hometown track, and this would be his, from what I understand, and it's sick. It's really sick. It's based off of 2004 layout, I believe, so it's a bit older. Curious, Red Rider, if you're watching this or if you see it, was that any particular reason you chose 2004? Was that just your favorite layout of the track? Has it changed a bunch, or is it basically the same? This is an awesome track. It's actually not super difficult, but it has a couple tricky sections. Here we're gonna turn right, and then at the bottom of the hill there's a section where you can triple, but it is pretty tough. I would say that's probably the toughest line to go for. I don't believe we hit it on this lap. No, we hit the double and then single out. You can triple there. We do, I believe, on the second lap. Also, we do have some crazy laps to show you. I do a bunch of freestyle. We pull off one of the most satisfying backflips you'll ever see. Barely land it. It's pretty sick. I believe that would be the third lap, I believe. Just a bunch of freestyle, kind of messing around, having some fun on the track. Just really cool. It's not terribly long. It's like a minute 40-ish for me. I'm sure a really good player could get through it way faster, but for me at least, it was about a minute 40. And it was pretty simple. It had a great flow. It looks really good. I'm sure the real life track is basically identical to this. I'm curious if in real life, because it's a local track, I'm not familiar with it. I'm curious if, like, for instance, the big triple in the corner that I'm going to show you on this lap, if that's actually a real line. And these whoops, if they're whoops, for me at least, like if I had to ride this track in real life, that for me would never be whoops. I'd never be able to get on top of those big bad boys. For me, I would be like doubling, maybe tripling through them. So it'd turn it into like a rhythm section. And it's cool because I actually had a local track that I grew up riding at that had a similar section. They built a big section of these huge whoops. I mean, they were huge. Some of the pros could, skim the tops of them, but here we hit the triple. Yes, we get it clean. But what I was saying was I had a track that had a similar whoop section where only the pros could really skim them. And for the rest of us, it was like a double, triple, 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 double. It was a really long section of whoops, and it was really tough. They were huge, and that section reminds me of a similar section in real life at a track that I grew up at, a local track that I raced at. So it was really cool. This is the crazy lap that has a bunch of freestyle. I believe maybe we pull something off right away here. No, I cut that one out. I'm pretty sure I had a lap where I pulled off a really sick backflip there, but we crashed way too much. Here we pull off a 360. It's super sketchy, but we landed it, and I decided to keep going with it. And then I'm pretty sure it's this step-up triple where we pull that super satisfying backflip. You know, the one where you kiss the front wheel off the ground before you even land it. It's super close. It's really sketchy. Yeah, we pull off that. It's pretty insane. But, yeah, Red his tracks are great. I love his tracks, his sense of style on the tracks, the way it flows, the way it looks, the scaling. He builds it to where it's like fun if you're not that good at the game, but yet it has those really tricky sections. There it is. Woo! Oh, that was sketchy. Red, anybody pulling off any backflips up that step-up triple? Or are we the first ones? I feel like we're the first ones. Right? I feels like it. Feels like we're the first ones. Pretty sure we are. But I'm so pumped. I'm amped up about this track. Like I was saying, his sense of style, he builds it to where a player that might not be very good at the game can play his tracks. And a veteran of the game can enjoy his tracks too because of how flowy it is, and it usually has a couple tricky sections. I mean, this finish line is pretty insane because it's like a step down table, but it feels like you could do what we did there where you turn it into a step down triple. So I'm curious, Red Rider, if some of these lines are for real. Oh, that was satisfying. Tell me you're satisfied off of that triple, or that backflip. That was sick. Kissing the front wheel off the ground before we even land the back wheel. That was insane. Super close. Had to put it in there. Rode safe the rest of the lap. Didn't take any chances on doing any crazy freestyle stuff because I wanted to put it in there without having a bunch of crashes in the rest of the lap. So that's the only freestyle. Those 2 laps were the main freestyle. The rest of the video is pretty much just standard ways around the track. But like I was saying, Red Rider makes really great tracks that fit a variety of skill level in the game. You know, I don't consider myself a great reflex player. I feel like I'm pretty average. So the track, the main line is pretty easy and fun, but the bigger line is tough. Like, I can do it, but it's really tough and I can't do it consistently. And then you'd have a veteran player, a really good player that probably can do it every lap. I never took the inside either, and you probably should because the double is super easy to get. Maybe you could triple out. I don't feel like you could triple over that. I don't feel like it was built for that. And this section was always causing me headache because I always was going too fast and forgot it turned right there, and then it would jump off the track. And the track resets you very, very, very easy. If you just go off a tiny bit, just like a tiny bit, it resets you. So you have to be real careful. You can't really cut the track even in the tiniest of bits like on the straightaway. So really great track. I really enjoy seeing, I guess if I sound more excited and pumped up, I am because yes, I love seeing replica tracks and crazy insane like Grippendale. That track was fantastic. It was one of my favorite custom tracks of all time. But seeing a local custom track is really awesome for multiple reasons. The first one being, it's cool to see what other people's custom or local tracks are like compared to the tracks that I have around where I live. And the track has stuff about it that is comparable or reminds me of tracks that I used to ride and rode on growing up. It's just really cool. I mean, if I knew how to build custom tracks, I would love to build a custom track of a private track that I grew up riding at and have more hours and more laps on than any other track I've ever rode at. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of laps. It's where I grew up to ride. It's how I learned to ride. It's awesome. And if I was a custom track or reflex content creator, I would definitely make that track. It would be awesome to see it in the game. And I'm assuming, you know, the way reflex is, it couldn't be like a one-to-one remake probably, because it just, I don't know, it would have to be the way it is. Everything would feel way bigger in the game probably than it actually is. I mean, the track I'm talking about, it's a private track, but basically anybody could ride there. It was just, it wasn't a track that was public and they held races. It was just a friend's track, really well done. But it's where I grew up to ride. It's how I learned to ride. It's my favorite track of all time. And so I guess that's why it gets me excited seeing tracks such as this one that Red Rider did, because it just makes me think of that. And reminds me of some of these tracks that I don't even go to anymore, because yes, people ask, do you ride? Yes, I do ride. I do have a YZ125 and a CRF 250. The YZ125 is actually a 144. And I love the bike. It's actually what got me back into riding, because I had an RMZ 450 and broke my leg and kind of got out of riding after that. And then I wanted to get back into it and got rid of the 450 and bought a YZ 125. Tried to make it fun again, was getting a bit burnt out, and it was fun. So if it wasn't for that bike, I don't know if I'd be riding still or as involved or whatever. So I love that bike. But there you go. That's the answer to your question. If you're asking me, do you ride in real life? What bikes do you have? I answered it. It means you didn't watch the whole video. Don't blame me. Don't blame me. But you guys and girls are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the support on the channel lately. It really does mean a lot. And until the next video, take it easy.